Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Somebody really wanted to hide, they could.
So it's pretty scary, honestly.
I don't want to stay outside too long. I don't know where this guy's moving around.
A community on edge as the manhunt into Travis Decker is fully underway. The entire community of Chelan County and surrounding areas are on high alert as there's high police and law enforcement presence in their community. Travis Decker is a 32-year-old Afghan vet that is accused of unaliving his 3 beautiful girls. His wife, Whitney Decker, blames mental health and the lack of VA services that caused this problem, stating that it is completely preventable. However, law enforcement states that they're hot on his trail, and the trail has moved. Their search efforts have shifted. We once learned that he was looking for jobs and looking to relocate to Canada. However, the path of travel law enforcement is showing he's migrating south, not north. We also learned from the sheriff that they have picked up the scent of Travis Decker in this new area. This is the information that I have been waiting on to determine whether he was truly on the run and a monster or just a broken man and in the woods waiting to be found. I guess time has told us, and time is showing us, that Travis Decker is a dangerous man that unalived his 3 beautiful children. Please keep Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia, along with their mother Whitney, in your thoughts and prayers. Please uplift this community that is struggling to find answers and to locate a dangerous man. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel for up-to-date information on the Travis Decker case, as well as any changes or updates related to the 3 girls. God bless.
Well, good morning, people. I was doing something. I do apologize. I just ended up losing half of my stuff here, so you guys are just going to have to bear with me. There we go. Hopefully I got my second screen back. Okay, guys, I hope you guys are doing well this morning. Bullhorn Betty is a little, I don't know what we want to call me today. A little cray-cray, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. A little cray-cray, maybe. Look in my messy office. Let's get that out of the way. We don't like that. Oh, gracious. Is it going to put me? I don't think it's going to allow me to put something behind me. You guys are going to have to give me a second. I don't know what's going on with this damn thing. It's driving me nuts. Well, hallelujah. All right. So it's nice to see you guys. As you can see, even with all the resets, I even let the computer set for literally all night, turned off, letting it get some of its juice back. And it seems like every time I add a video or an article, it kills my bandwidth here in this office. So I figured, okay, well, maybe it has to do with all the jacks that I've got going on here. And so I figured I'd move some stuff around. Well, by moving the stuff around, it kicked everything offline. So yay me, yay me. Anyways, guys, you guys got to see I've been working a pile of paper over here are those court documents. I've been working my little rear end off trying to get stuff done last week. And then, of course, this weekend was pretty busy for me and a pretty heavy news load as well. So we've got some good news. If you guys are following me on Bullhorn Betty, we got some good news on Vance Bolter. Vance Bolter was taken into custody. The manhunt into the House of Representatives, Melissa Hortman and her husband's homicide, has come to an end. They did get him. It sounded like it was fairly peaceful. I didn't see anybody hurt or injured. He had no visible injuries with the photos from media that were released. So I didn't see where there was any struggle. Sometimes when we have these type of things, people are bloody when they're captured. So it looks like it appears mostly peaceful. But it also brings almost another talking point related to this case. So if you guys have not heard about the case of Travis Decker is an Afghan war vet that ended up going into the National Guards and recently retired from the National Guards in 2023, or didn't reenlist. Didn't reenlist. Maybe retired, probably not the appropriate word, because I think that means some type of benefits or something to that effect. And I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. But I digress. What we've learned is that this gentleman went through major life changes in 2023, as well as dealing with a huge mental breakdown. So he was diagnosed, with the PTSD coming back from the war. He was diagnosed with some type of personality disorder. And then he came back, he was in the National Guards. Then he was no longer in the National Guards. He lost his home. He lost his mother. And he was fighting for custody for his children, not to lose his time with his kids. That was super important to him. He loved his kids an awful lot and did not want to lose that time with them. So definitely we saw this spiraling start initiating itself, at least at minimum, in 2023, when his whole entire world just came tumbling down on top of him. And I don't know if this led him to alcohol or substance abuse, but I still feel that there is a hint of some kind. I don't know. Sorry about that, guys. Some kind of dependency on something, in my opinion. I don't know why I felt that way since I've been covering this case. There has been no allegations, nothing supporting that he had a substance abuse or an alcohol abuse problem. But there's just something with me that's internal that tells me I truly believe this man had some other things going on. And the reason why I think it was either substance abuse or alcohol is because I'm very familiar with veterans issues. I don't know them. Don't misunderstand me. I don't know what they're going through, nor am I going to try, nor can I, right? I've never been in a combat zone. It's kind of hard for somebody to have that experience without having that experience. But I understand. And so I'm trying to, I have to think the triggering effect. I'm not sure. This is what I think. I just think everything tumbled down upon him. He was having a mental health break, and law enforcement, and I'm sorry, law enforcement deal with the worst of the worst kind of us. Okay. So they've got a lot of experiences with criminals. Except the problem is the last couple cases, the manhunts and stuff like that, in my opinion, they're not chasing hardened criminals. Yet they're acting like they're chasing hardened criminals and criminals that are well versed in the job of criminal. So I think that they're overestimating in part the capabilities of the person. Now I do believe that he is highly trained, he's highly skilled. You don't go into infantry and become a National Guard without being a highly skilled machine. So I do believe he was highly skilled, and I do believe his experience living in Washington, being out in the state of Washington, those things do have a factor on why he's been able to elude law enforcement. But listen here, I'm still not convinced he's on the run. I have been back and forth with this. You guys know I've been, and even the intro video coming in here, I am back and forth on whether he is out there in Rock Island or if he's truly on the run. And listen, we just watched the Vance manhunt, right? Vance manhunt, major manhunt in Minnesota. They stated this was the largest manhunt in Minnesota's history. And what did they tell us? What did they tell us? They told us when they got his car. They told us when they found his hat, right? They knew that was his hat. They identified a hat that resembled his. And then, and I have to assume they did a DNA test on this guy. And they got the results, and they know for a fact that because they can get results now in a few hours. It doesn't take what it used to take to get DNA results or a profile. And so I have to think that that's what they did, and they were able to get it. You guys hear this mechanism of them telling us that they've got something that is connected to the subject that they're hunting. And here in this particular matter with Travis Decker, guys, it's the one thing we don't have. I mean, if we go back, let's go back to that. I don't even have it pulled up. Let's just do this impromptu. But let's go back to the latest press conference. I want you guys to hear what Sheriff, oh, good gracious. Why did I just go a blank? Oh, good gracious. The poor sheriff. Sheriff Morrison. It was there and it just slipped just like that. And I'm like, oh, good gracious. I've said that man's name probably 100 times at this point. And right when I went to, you know what I was going to call him? Probably because my head's in the clouds and I'm thinking of Bart Simpson. I was going to call him Mr. Simpson. Sheriff Simpson. Did we remind everybody it's a Monday and it's the Bullhorn Betty channel? We're doing our first run through on this Manic Monday on the smaller channel. We'll be up to snuff by the real channel's debut, right? I'm just joking. But we are going to go directly over to the other channel after this is wrapped up and talk about Sebastian Rogers and Lily and Jack. So, especially in light of the detective stuff, man, we got a lot. There's a lot to chew on. There's a lot to chew on with the detective. Plus, we have to go over my psychological profile as well as the questionnaire that April did. We never quite finished that up. So if you guys, when we end here, it's going to be literally, it takes me about an hour to create a thumbnail and get the live set up and get my stuff, get it all in order. So it is 10:45. I anticipate us being here for about an hour and a half today. So whatever that is, I think we're probably going to go live over on the other channel, like around 1 or 1:30 today. But I'll tell you before we close out what time we'll be over there. But we're going to be diving into Sebastian's case as well. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I can't imagine how hard yesterday was for Seth and, all the innocent parents that are missing their children and don't know where they are. As you can probably imagine, Seth is probably, again, painful. But I did want to let you guys know I did reach out to him. Unfortunately, it being Father's Day, I didn't hear back from him, and I completely understand why. But I also didn't want you guys thinking I didn't think of him or anything like that. I just didn't know what he was doing, and he was just eating me up all day. So I finally just broke my silence and called him. But for all I know, he could have been eat out with some friends, because I'm sure he's got some friends that are trying to take his mind off of the day. And Seth is such a great dad to Sebastian, and it really does show, because he's still the only one sitting here fighting for his son, while you have two pieces of garbage sitting on the sideline acting suspicious and can't keep their facts straight. Won't tell us where he's at. I can't wait until Sumner County can actually, we'll see, close a case, right? I have no faith in, and I don't know Brandon. I don't know TBI. I really don't care to know them, because at the end of the day, we want results, right? And as far as I'm concerned, so far, all the cases I'm covering right now in Tennessee, there's no results. So how do you think that makes me feel about TBI or law enforcement in those states, when I literally cover 4 cases, and all 4 cases to this day? Which reminds me, I just dropped. Now, mind you guys, the stuff that I'm dropping from Summer Wells, it's not going to be all pretty and bubbly and all this stuff that you're used to me giving you, because all of that is from my prior phone. Okay. So it has to be edited on my Windows computer. Well, if you know about my Windows computer, it probably has the most basic of basic. Um, it's kind of called iWin Movie Maker. I think I paid like 10 years ago, like $39 for a lifetime subscription. So that's what I use. It has literally zero effects to it. Okay. And it is so basic. I don't hardly barely know how to use it. And it's hard to believe that that's how I used to create my. It's hard to believe back in the day, 4 short years ago, that was how I was, doing my videos. But, God bless us. How I lived without this, that's all old equipment. Okay. That's all cheap Betty equipment. That was pre Bullhorn Betty channel. Okay. I mean, we had a little channel, but it wasn't a whole bunch, we were just starting out in the world of breaking news and child, missing child cases. It was like the flipping wild, wild west. I don't know if you guys know who Benny Keys is. He's a real POS. He should be Chris Proudfoot's BFF. Well, he's trying to track us down and assault us. Like this stuff was wild. Yeah, that should have, I should have learned my lesson in Summer Wells that I needed to pack my bags and take a hike. But you know what? I wasn't going to let those foul mouth, effers, distract from people that was willing to do what needed to be done. And in that Summer Wells case, I was so sick and tired of all the BS and the rumors, and you couldn't tell fact for fiction. So you know what we all did? We all packed up our bags. We went out there and we found out the answers for ourselves. The answers for ourselves, as you can imagine, look right at Don Wells and Candace Bly. Furthermore, before we get into the Decker case, furthermore, and we're going to repeat all of this this afternoon after this on the main channel, but so you guys are getting this information first. What Don Wells is trying to display to the world isn't as it seems. As many of you guys know, I do not respect Hawkins County. I do not respect Hawkins County Sheriff. I do not like Ronnie Lawson. I do not care for his family, and I definitely do not like his son. So, with that being kind of front and center on that, Don Wells's children were taken from him. Whatever children he had left which were the last three boys. Okay. Now, mind you, we have told this entire world, Candace Bly, Summer's mother, as well as Don Wells, they have, I think, about 10 children amongst them. Okay. Every single one of their children, it might be 8 or 9 children, every single one of their children that they have ever given birth to or ever was the biological parent to have been removed out of their custody with the exception of one. And that one, and permanent. All these children that those two had in several different relationships, 9 children, every last one of those children have been removed by the state and taken permanently from every single one of them. Whether it was just Don's kids with another woman or Candace's kids with another man or their kids together, every last one of their children have been removed. Candace actually went to a mental hospital. This is what a lot of people forget. Back when she had children previously, this is years before Summer and her brothers were born, she took a shotgun to the social worker. Okay, that's who Candace Bly is. A shotgun to the social worker. It is reported that her older son, has permanent brain damage because of the abuse he suffered in her home. I've never been able to corroborate that, but I do know her daughter that was taken from her now adult daughter in her 20s, has spoken out and criticized her mother. And that was back in 2022. Now, Summer is the only child that wasn't forced away from them by the state, and it's because she disappeared. Summer Wells There's been a lot of stories on Summer Wells. There's been a lot of speculation amongst their neighbors. We've spoken to a lot of their neighbors, even ones that didn't want to speak with us. I will be dropping those videos, but what it was coming back to is that video is being edited on a very low quality editing software. But that's the only way I can get you guys some of these clips. I'm actually working on another one. So what I'm trying to do is find a section that I'm going to be discussing, and I'm trying to get those sections and we transferring them over to me. And then I'm downloading the videos individually so I can try to edit them on the good editing software, but it's so time consuming. It makes me wonder whether it's worth it or not. So I just decided I'm just going to go through with the crappy editing software, and it's all about the information so you guys have it. The first videos that I'm dropping down and I'm showing you is I like you guys to see that we covered all the bases in the Summer Wells case. Okay, we spent time with law enforcement on this case. We went to the counties. We pulled tax records. We pulled incident calls. We had a good understanding what was going on in and around the Wells home at the time Summer Wells disappeared. This was a lot to do. You had 5 social media content creators on scene utilizing our brain cells to try to find information about this case as much out of the box as possible. And as you hear in the latest one dropped on the main channel, not even the media even thought about this stuff. And we have, records from them that might not be available anymore as this case progressed. But I never changed my mind, nor will I. But getting back to this, their kids were all taken from them, okay? So when he came out to the world and said, look, they dropped the charges, they're not going to sue us. We're talking about a broke county that does not want to take that. I know because I was arguing with the state attorney when I was there. We've got that on record too, which will be dropped at some point, telling them just to charge them with the neglect, go for the low hanging fruit. But the problem here in Tennessee is we got broke counties, okay, that don't have the resources for multiple trials. So they have to pick and choose when they're going to sue people, when they're going to hold people accountable, because they don't have the money to hold their citizens accountable. That's what it comes down to. However, Don and Candace gave their rights away to the state for the boys. The state, in this particular case, has what they were trying to accomplish, which was keeping those boys safe from their abusive parents, they were able to do. The state has the custody of those boys. The state dismissed the case against them, saying that they're not moving forward with it and don't have the supporting information. The house itself, the junk on the outside itself is enough to support. I've read the laws in the state of Tennessee for removing those children for negligence and environmental conditions that could injure them. Period. So they already had enough support for that. So just the photos alone of their property and electrical wires hanging down where the kids hit the electrical wires with their face and it's not properly grounded, that in and of itself is enough to have your children taken away from you because they could get electrocuted and die. So this idea that they have no proof to take Candace and Don to court, I don't see it being so. What I see the reality of the situation in my experience in courts and working for attorneys is that they most likely looked at the situation and said, do we really want to spend the taxpayers' money on this? We've already accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. They can never hurt the boys again. The boys are out of their custody and they're never getting their daughter back. So, what's going on here? The daughter, I have to assume after all this time, everybody believes Summer Wells is deceased. There are a few people that believe she was sold. I can't fix those people. Every single case a child's missing, that's the first thing they say. They think children are sold. And why it is, although it is a well-known and wide black market out there, and we see it each and every day, it still is a lower percentage of possibilities statistically in these cases. So we try to work the cases with the factual information that we have. And the factual information that we have when we look at Don Wells, it to me appears that Don Wells was abusing Summer Wells in a very inappropriate way, not just physical abuse, but other abuses. And you guys know what I'm talking about because we all know who Don Wells is. So that's just where I'm at. But I think it's time now that people are starting to talk about Summer Wells again. It's time for us to start getting the information out there about what we found. The next video I'm going to be dropping is going to be one of their neighbors that came to us confidentially and provided us some information about what they've been hearing on that mountain. I think that's information that you guys need to know. You will not get these interviews from anybody else but the four people, because Mom, she wasn't recording, the 4 content creators that were on scene when this stuff happened. Those are the only ones that possess these recordings. Anyways, let's get on with the Decker case. Thank you for allowing me to bend your ear. But before we get on to the Decker case, I'm going to be saying good morning to all of you because I haven't had a chance to say good morning to our beautiful people. The real me too, the first to bless us with her presence. Why is this not working? Okay, let's see. Give me just a second. My mouse doesn't want to seem to work today. I can't get anything to work. I'm so over this. I am truly over this. Okay, so the real me too. It's nice to see you, E.R. Blue. I'm missing some people because my mouse is also acting up. I can't win today, so let me just use my keypad. So where do we have here? Oh, Jesus. My whole thing's, it won't even my thing, it's not moving. There we go. Now it's finally starting to work. Okay, I think I got it to work. Guys, I'm having some major technical issues and I don't know what to do about it. I really don't. Okay, there we go. So ER Blues, Pebbles, it's nice to see you. Mickey Shell, Melanie, Robin Woods, it's nice to see you, love. Denise, love my fur babies. I love mine as well. True Crime Junkie, Cindy, Karen, it's nice to see you. Kathleen, good morning. Peggy, good morning. The real me too. I think I said hi to you already. Trust the process. Yes, yes, yes. Tabitha, I see you. I think I'm missing a few people. I'm sorry. You guys just love me. Today's one of those shortcoming days. Houston, it's nice to see you. Me and you. Good morning. Did I say hi to you, Pebbles? I can't remember. If I didn't, good morning. Me and you. I know I said hi to you. YouTuber, good morning. I think we got. Oh, we're still up pretty high. I forgot. I've been talking for the last 30 minutes. Niner Nana, VA, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Aw, thank you, Cindy. Cindy is a member for 15 months. Monday mornings are always a hoot with Betty. Well, usually I'm already manic as is because it's Monday, right? It's cray-cray. And then you couple that with nonstop technical issues on a live show. It's just a great day. TD Dean, it's nice to see you. B Betty, Betty fan, big hugs and kisses to you. Nancy, it's nice to see you over here. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And Unicorn, it's nice to see you. Now, if you guys are, oh, hey, Jamie. If you guys are here and I forgot to say good morning to you. Oh, Big Mac Mike must be in here. Frank, good morning. It's because I scrolled right past you and it's not my fault. I have a gremlin in my system. And no, I did not add water, okay? It wasn't a cute little gizmo that I added water and now I got gremlins growing out of my computer. It's just a gremlin computer. And it's been a gremlin. You know what it was? It was the update. I know exactly what it was because when I started having all these technical issues, it was when it forced me to do one of these Apple updates, whatever the, up to Ventura 13.6.2 or whatever it is. Oh, is that what it is? I did not know that. Oh, trying to be incognito. Is that it? Aha! I see. Trying to be sneaky. She's coming in here like, hey, it's all the trolls' fault. Now, I like the gremlins in the computers. The trolls can stay online. Gremlins on the computer are a little easier to deal with. So, guys, we've been covering the case of Travis Decker. Travis Decker he did terrible things, and we can't minimize that. But I don't think we're trying to minimize what he did. I think what we're trying to do, he says, I'm crabbing. Oh, hey, givers and takers. It's nice to see you, love. What we're trying to do is understand, and sometimes, you know what, we're just never going to understand it. I get that. But it's hard for us in true crime to let something that's bothering us go. And I think for me, the biggest thing is that you see this man that's fighting. We're going to hear a video. We're going to hear a video here in just a second. Well, not a second, in a little bit, of Travis Decker in court. Fighting to have visitations with his children. He wants to have them overnight. He wants to do dad things, and the problem is that the only time they can really stay the night with him is if they have camping trips. And that's the problem. Normally, if you have custody or you get your weekend visit and you go camping, it's no big deal, right? But in this situation, they have no choice. And that's the problem that's making the judge uncomfortable with, that he doesn't have a stable place for them. He doesn't have they don't have their own rooms, they don't have their own privacy, and yeah, camping is camping, but it can't always be camping to have your kids overnight. And that's the situation that was presenting itself. So you have a father that loves his children, wants to be around his children. He had just recently lost his overnight stays, and that was very upsetting for him. So when I first heard about this story, this was one I didn't feel so, like, the real Me Too said she knew this was going to end bad. Something about it just told her up front that this was going to end bad, and that's just the way it is. But for me, it wasn't, because I was looking at several different factors. I was looking at, he was military, that he had recently lost his overnight stays. And I felt like this was more civil disobedience to the court order, like, the hell with you, judge. I'm not a danger to my own children. And if I want to spend time with them, I should. I kind of felt like it was a situation that was going to ultimately end up like this. And I was thinking in the back of my head, yo, bro, you don't want to get jammed up like that, because then it's going to cause you even future problems getting the kids. And, I was thinking all these things. But as I moved past the article, and then somebody, like a day or two later, I think it was like a day later, because I think it was one day behind the story, somebody reached out to me. It's like, that dude, his kids are, he unalived his kids. He murdered his kids. And I'm like, oh no. And then I jumped in and I started researching it. And sure enough, he had murdered his kids, and they believed he's on the run. And I was on the same mindset too, that he's on the run. But after I heard Whitney Decker, and I say this a lot, my mind changed a little bit about him, but I don't know if I put too much stock in her statements when it came to Travis Decker, because, is she in denial about some of this stuff? Did she not think he would, nobody thought he was capable of this. Well, my question always will be is, what did you think he was capable of? Where do you think that line in the sand was for him? And that's why I believe this was like a family annihilation situation. But usually in the family annihilation situation, the family annihilator never annihilates himself, just everybody else. So that had been weighing on my heart. But now that they've really not, in 3 weeks, have produced the public really any supporting information. They've given us, we've seen this person, but they can't tell us definitively if it was Travis. They stated that they found several items of interest on the trail, which again, it doesn't take weeks to get these DNA tests back, especially a loon-crazed lunatic that's fleeing a homicide of 3 juveniles. It doesn't, you're on a priority. That means you get stuff turned around to you really quickly. Now you're adding the Border Patrol, the Secret Service, the U.S. Marshals to that. You got some real money behind that, real resources behind that, the FBI laboratories behind that. They should be spitting this crap out and letting us know if they're hot on his trail or not. They should have, at this point, 3 weeks. If they have nothing with his DNA on it, I'm sorry, they're chasing a phantom. He's out there in Rock Island. But you know what? I'm not always right. I just have these strong gut feelings. I've been listening to the Sheriff Morrison, and when he was directed on anything that would tie to, and the media out there was very good. They asked the questions. That's why I can tell you this. Anything that ties to Travis directly and specifically, they didn't have the favorable news I was looking for. So I was getting ready to pull up the press conference, which I was not going to show you guys today because we had already went over it. But honestly, I think we need to revisit what the sheriff, actually said, so you understand why I'm feeling kind of the way I'm feeling. And you guys have watched me back. I've been balancing on this fence. And I keep jumping off the fence, and then I keep crawling back on the fence, and then I jump off the other way, and then I crawl back on the fence, and now I'm still back on the fence, okay? I don't know which way to go. I'm just saying that this case here, there is a lot of similarities in police behavior as well as suspect behavior that resembles Brian Laundrie, and I hope that these law enforcement officers are double backing. And if they open Rock Island and you guys remember, there's a $20,000 reward. And I don't think, I think it's dead or alive. I'm not sure. You might want to check into that. But if I were you and I was out in that area, I'd be out in those woods in Rock Island searching it, because I know law enforcement went through it, but I know that they were using heat. That's the big mistake that they made in Brian Laundrie's case. They were trying to use that infrared heat crap, and it's not any good on a cold body. Okay, it's not any good on a cold body. It does zero, and that's why they didn't see Brian down there. There was big trees, and there was this one arm that kind of literally, from drones and helicopters and anything from above, okay, it would have completely disguised it. That's why they kept missing him. He was covered by the trees. They couldn't penetrate through the trees, and he was cold as ice. So they're not getting any heat off of him. So they're probably picking up, honestly, I bet you anything, when they were driving those heat things on and they saw like little hogs and other wildlife kind of in that area, I bet you they saw the heat on them and didn't realize that they were probably, next to Brian. So, yeah, Shirley H., we're going to be doing a Lily and Jack update directly after this live. About an hour after this live ends, we'll be going over there and talking about Sebastian's case and Lily and Jack's case. So what we have right now is we have them moving into Catitas, I think is the name of the county. Catitas County. I'm trying to look at, because it looks like it's Kittitas, right? And I know that that would be the wrong pronunciation of it. So I'm trying to pronunciate it a little different, and it looks like cat. I said it right the first time. I can't remember. I can't remember. But it's like but it's that word, okay? So they're in that county now, and I still haven't heard anything. So let's go back. It's only 9 minutes. I think it's going to be good to go back and refresh us on what we learned at this most recent press conference. But what you're going to hear is this sheriff. He doesn't link Travis to anything, not even the footprints. And he never even addressed the scent. And I have to say, we've learned a lot about these dogs, especially with Sebastian Rogers. I first learned about these dogs in Summer Wells case. We did a whole little show on different types of dogs in the Summer Wells case. You should go back and look at it. And they said the dog picked up a scent, but you know what? Nobody ever asked was it a scent specific dog or a ground disturbance dog? Because remember, Max was a ground disturbance dog that picked up the scent from Sebastian's home to the construction site, the construction site, and they tell us that wasn't his scent. So that tells us that somebody left his house and went to the construction site. So is this another situation like that? Like, I can go on for days. I need something more solid. And law enforcement is still playing this word salad. I like Sheriff Morrison, but I don't think he's being as transparent as he should be here. We're going on week 3 of this Travis Decker manhunt. There's not been one scintilla of evidence linking to Travis that they have disclosed to the public. Basically, people like me feel like he's chasing a phantom. He's chasing a ghost. They're not chasing anyone. They're chasing another felon fleeing the law in the mountains, like they did in Brian Laundrie's case. That's what I'm starting to feel. I'd like to see this, but for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and play this so you guys can hear it right out of his mouth. I'm going to skip ahead once he starts talking about
Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee PD, Wenatchee PD, State Patrol.
So let's get past all the thank you guys. We're really appreciative.
This is the kind of group effort that's going to take. Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, here.
How to kill all mosquitoes in the area in just minutes.
Sorry, guys.
This simple but brilliant trick you can do tonight to eliminate all mosquitoes.
Sorry, I could have.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chief Brown with U.S. Marshal Service.
You know what? Let me go ahead and get this out of here. Hold on a second. I'll have to change the account real quick. Give me just a second. I don't want to have a whole bunch of commercials while I'm doing this. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that.
Remain committed here at the Chelan County Sheriff's Office with our regional partners. Are starting to come back. We want to make sure those are properly processed, additional leads and interviews are conducted, and that again, our case is ready to go to court when Travis is brought to justice. So I appreciate your time.
Eastern District, Washington. Appreciate everybody being here today. The community support from our law enforcement
I don't like him either. Hold on.
The sheriff has already enumerated. And you.
So let's go ahead and get him up here. There we go.
We have found items that are of interest to us that perceive that it could be Mr. Decker. We've also continued to follow up with some of his friends and family.
So that could be. You got to understand, he's not saying they linked to him. They said they found a few items of interest. In my opinion, if they were found more than 3 days prior to this press conference, he should have had the results, whether those were items of his, and that's another problem there. He's also going to address the sighting.
And we believe that we're closing in on his trail.
Sheriff Morrison, what can you tell us about yesterday's possible sighting at Blewett Pass?
Again, this just...
Okay, here we go. They're asking about the sighting the previous day of this interview.
This emphasizes the importance. If you see something, say something. We're appreciative of those group of hikers that were up there. Had more acknowledged us as our flight patterns were up there. And then just the behavior that we saw from the lone hiker did not match. That was typical with everyone else we were seeing up there. So again, that sparked our interest. We did put a ground unit on there to continue tracking the prints that we had. We continue to
tracking the prints that we had. Now, they're talking about prints here, okay? He glosses over it. He doesn't really address the footprints or how they're handling those footprints, or what type of dog they're using. And this is important, but they don't typically go into the dogs, because In all fairness, sheriffs don't necessarily know either. The dog handler and trainer is typically the one that knows what they're authorized to do. I mean, the sheriff would, they have a list. I mean, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't know their, I don't know if he knows the nuances about each individual specific trained dog.
Down in Eagles Creek and up in the Valley High area. So again, we appreciate everyone, even on the back trails. You need to remain vigilant. And again, we encourage.
So again, he's describing not Travis Decker, just a person that's fleeing that looked and appeared suspicious in light of this manhunt. He does talk about footprints here, but he never talks about how they acquired the footprints. Is the dog census specific, and did he hit on those specific footprints? That would tell us definitively that yes, those are his footprints. Did they cast his footprints? Were those the same footprints that were observed at the campsite? You know, those are the questions that I would really like answered. It doesn't go to the integrity of the investigation. I mean, at this point, if Travis is running, he would have to know that there's a manhunt for him. That, you know, obviously there's no surprise there. So them talking about some of these things, I don't see where it goes directly into the investigative or hindering the investigative or something that could cause problems by them disclosing.
I urge you not to approach the subject. He is still considered dangerous, but please, we need as much information and help from the public as we can get. As we've seen in the past with other manhunts, it is going to take a group effort in the community in order to bring this sightings. We're also doing trackings of what we have found.
Okay.
Continue to still have a ground team on there. We have dogs out there that we're tracking leads. We're going through sightings. We're also doing trackings of what we have found with footprints. So nothing has changed from yesterday. We've just started to head in a different direction. So until that time.
Were those footprints casted? Do those footprints match the ones at the campsite? Again,
our ground units are still on the ground. We still have resources within the Chelan County Sheriff's Office pursuing that, and we'll continue.
Are they the right size shoe? Sorry, I got questions. And the reason why I'm questioning so specifically is because we're in a, you know, week 3 of this manhunt. I just find it completely utterly bizarre for me personally, right? I find it completely utterly bizarre that we have a man that can kill a politician and the manhunt is over in 48 hours. We've got a guy that unalives, you know, normal children, normal Americans, and we're on week 3. I feel that there is more that can be done. Sorry. I'm not dogging the sheriff. He's not involved in this aspect of it. He relinquished command over to the U.S. Border Patrol. So the U.S. Border Patrol is actually commanding the investigation into Travis Decker. So we already have the feds checking him down. So can we just turn the 3 kids, can we just label them politicians so we can end this manhunt for Travis Decker? You know? And I'm sorry for being so condescending. And I'm very appreciative they got Vance off the streets. But I think we need to have some pay dirt here. You know, do you guys really have something that links back to Travis or not? I want to hear it specifically. Yes, this here links to Travis. We didn't find it in the area of the girls. We found it, 30 or 40 miles this way. That's what I want to hear. Okay, I think the world is over, you know, word salad. I think that we're kind of getting ants in our pants, right? We're antsy. And we just want to end this case. We want to know what happened to Travis Decker. If he's alive, we want to bring him to justice. If he's deceased, may he rest in peace. But I think the world has a right to know. And moreover, Whitney Decker has a right to know. And I'm telling you, this has so many similarities to Brian Laundrie. If you guys are out there in Washington State and you're near Rock Island, get a team together. I'm sorry. That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did. As soon as that's open to the public, we went in there. We went in there and we searched everything. We searched everything. Like I said, the only thing is we didn't know that there was a big void in the middle of all that shrubbery and trees. We were within 500 yards or 500 feet to 500. I can't remember. I think it's 500 feet. I think we were within 500 feet of Brian Laundrie, but you know what? It could have been 500 yards. I can't remember now. I have to go back and it was 500 something. It was close. Okay. He was only 1,500 yards from his vehicle where he laid for all that time while that intense manhunt was underway for him. He was deceased, lying out there in the pasture of this reservation, you know, this Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park. He was in one spot the entire time. He wasn't moving. But you know what? You go listen to some of those earlier reports when they moved that search from Myakkahatchee Creek over to Carlton Reserve, 45 minutes north. I bet you they told you they're hot on his trail. They're closing in on him. I bet you they said that. And then we got the guy. It ain't Brian. That's what we went through with Brian Laundrie. Go back and don't watch that newest release of the Brian Laundrie case, the Gabby Petito story, the one that was just released not just a little while ago. They should have called us. They got so many things wrong, and they listened to law enforcement. Law enforcement will forever tell you that they were up to their chest, that this was the largest manhunt and they had to crawl through the swamp. And they did. But that's because they made the strategical and tactical error to move the search from Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, where there was no water up to your chest, all the way 45 minutes north to the Carlton Reserve, which is a swamp. And yes, they had dune buggies out there and they were walking in water up to their chest, but that was nowhere near where Brian Laundrie was. That was 45 minutes north. And it's so funny because I don't think the producers understood that, and law enforcement is not going to tell them that. So the information that they had in the latest one, there were several major details that I thought were major. They got completely and horribly wrong. And I know for a fact, and I've got the receipts, I can prove it.
Yes, ma'am.
Concerned that he could be going a different direction towards the Tiana Way Trail, towards Clayella?
Absolutely, and I've already been in contact with Kittitas County Sheriff Clay Myers this morning. We know that he has resources on the ground as well. There is nowhere that he's going to be able to go that we don't have units waiting for him.
Okay, there's nowhere he's going to be willing to go that they do not have units waiting for him. Okay. Well, it's 3 weeks. 3 weeks. This man is, if he is alive and he's running through the woods, those heat things should work. How do we know it wasn't somebody else that wasn't supposed to be there? Get a criminal, another criminal. I don't know. There's just something they're not telling us here. Like, we had information coming out very quickly about Vance Bolter, including they found his hat. They knew it was his hat. It was specifically his hat. We've got nothing that they specifically says is his. 3 weeks later, we've got nothing. Yep, if he is alive. So long, I don't see any. VA, you cracked me up. Oh, good gracious. Oh, good gracious. Hold on here. Let me see where we are. Anybody want to give a ride in their private jet? I'm down. Me too, VA. Me too. I'm glad you're throwing it out there. I mean, we're gold diggers over here, not gold diggers. Okay? GOAL. Gold diggers. I got a shirt. I got a shirt. Oh, Jen gave me the shirt. Jen, you know, the real Me Too knows who I'm talking about. Don't want you guys thinking I'm a gold digger. The only gold I'm digging for is my own. Just saying. There's not a lot there. I didn't even put my earrings in. I got a little bit. I got a little bit. It's enough to get a couple shavings off the gold bar. You know, I didn't get quite. I don't have quite enough for the whole bar, but I got a couple shavings off of it. Okay, I just got, you know. I got a little bit of the scrap metal. The scrap gold. Hey, Phil, it's nice to see you. But you know what I did? I did find out. Holy smokes! Like gold an ounce is like $3,400. A gold bar right now, a kilo of gold. If you're a gold dealer, a kilo of gold this day and age is right about $116,000. I'm just saying. So if you a kilo dealer, I don't know. Hey, we like those kind of dealers. We like those kind of dealers. Gold dealer. Don't ask me. I know, but I'm not lying. A kilo of gold is about $116,000. So I think I think one of my bucket list items is going to be gold mining, because I want to scrape enough of those crumbs off the side of the mountains that I can get me one of those $116,000 kilos. I'm just saying, yeah, Jen Between. That's it. Thanks, The Real Me Too. And she had this shirt and it says, I looked at it and it's got gold lettering on it and it's glittery, but it says Goal, Goal, Goal dealer. Or no, digger. I'm a gold digger.
County Sheriff's Office has already been here assisting us. Snohomish County, been in touch with Okanagan County. We have Douglas County Sheriff's in close contact. They have the Grant County Sheriff today. He is surrounded. Washington State knows who he is. We're going to continue to be in there, and he's got a lot of ground to cover. Eventually, he's going to tire and he's going to make a mistake.
How confident are you that lone hiker you guys spotted is Travis Decker?
We feel pretty confident that it could be him, but again, we're not going to ever go out and say 100% until we have him in our grip.
See? He can't even give a definitive answer whether he truly believes that's him or not. You know, you would think that, you know, he would say something. I mean, I'm picking his statements apart. You know, I'm very thankful for his statements. I just want to say that. But he's not linking. Okay, so he had a great opportunity here to say, yes, we do believe it's him, but we can't be, you know, certain that it's him. So I'm not going to be boastful about it. But in conjunction with the shoe prints that we've identified as him and the dog scent, we do believe that this is the area that he's in, you know, something like that. But we just don't hear that linking of stuff together. And that's the problem I have, because there's something that has just been eating my gut alive, telling me that, you know, he may be deceased. And so far with all the press conference, I'm looking for specific wording to help change my mind, you know, if he's on the run or if this is a Brian Laundrie situation. And every time I listen, it's like the statements fall just a little bit short of confirmation. It's almost a suggestion, if you will, versus confirming. And he's the sheriff, so, you know, we don't want to speculate here. And I feel like because he's speculating, he's forcing us to speculate, and we just want to know, are they truly tracking I think this is the perfect question. Are they truly tracking Travis Decker? And if so, what evidence have they obtained to support that? There we go. That's the answer I want answered. That's the question I'd want answered right there. If they believe he's on the run, what is supporting that? What evidence do they have to support that he is truly on the run, and that he, you know, it has to be more than he just wasn't with the girls at the vehicle. Now, this is a real low probability. Really low probability. But it's one thing that nobody has talked about. Everybody assumes that Travis Decker and I'm sure that there's some evidence, whether it's his prints on the tie straps or whatever, the bag, whatever the case may be. But just hear me out. Let's remove that knowledge. What if this is something else? What if somebody else did that to his children? Because we have bloody handprints on a vehicle that come back to a male DNA, which they've never confirmed whether or not that male DNA is in fact his or not. It just said male DNA. I have not heard any confirmation that that DNA came back as Travis's and non-human DNA. So it was a mixture of human and non-human DNA, but the human DNA was a male subject. That was the last I remember hearing about that. What if, I'm just saying, there was somebody there that attacked him and drug him off? We've never talked about that aspect of it. I don't believe that. I think that aspect, that theory, that, path is a nothing burger. But in all fairness, it's never been addressed or closed as a possibility. All of his items were left at the vehicle. And like I said, it almost seemed like the bloody handprints in part may have been to give the illusion that there may have been a different type of altercation at that campground than him having a mental break. Fact is stranger than fiction in many cases. I don't believe that. I mean, look at the conspiracy theory you said yesterday. I'm like, how do we know somebody didn't snatch him up, put a mask over their head and steal his car and go commit this, The secret alphabet soup society of the United States, is a little scary for somebody like me. We know it exists. We don't hear about it. We don't see it, but what do? They do a lot of espionage all over the country. Just saying. So I'm just... or not all over the country, all over the world. The CIA is not allowed to work. They're not supposed to be working on American soil. And sometimes they do, which is pretty scary. I think they're actually forbidden from... I think it's criminal for them to act on our soil, but they do. But again, I just worry about that, with all this stuff going around and it being hyper political. You guys know, I even told you guys it was a wild conspiracy theory, but hey, you never know. This might be a wild conspiracy theory too, but it's never been addressed. Nobody's talked about it from an angle of, how would these two handprints get at the scene? What if? We never what if that. What if there was another issue? What if he was out there? What if he came across a homeless guy in his area where, maybe he was cooking something he shouldn't have been known to somebody? What if he walked upon something and they saw something? I mean, that has never been expressed or cleared. But then you would anticipate him being found right along with his girls as well. But again, like I said, I don't anticipate that having a whole lot of meat to the bones. I'm pretty sure that is a nothing burger path to go down. But again, it's something that nobody's talked about. And there were some bloody handprints there that weren't the girls. They were adult male or adult handprint, probably his size. Y'all know Hood and well that they know if it's his DNA by now. That's what I'm saying. We should have a little more like his press conference. He sounds so confident, right? And he has the appearance of confidence, and he's exuding confidence when he's talking. But everything that the media is asking him, he's not giving confident answers. He's not getting concrete answers. They're so subjective. How do you? They've presented nothing to the public to show that they truly are on the right path. Just saying that they are, and I'm sorry, I just need a little bit more because of the details of this case. And I hope the next press conference that the sheriff can, just explain, just to resolve, that they are truly tracking him. that he truly is on the run and he's all this way away from where he is. I just want to know that. They're saying they're tracking him, but every time anybody asks them about how do they know, are you confident it's him? Well, we're never going to be quite confident. I mean, he did run away from the helicopter, so we were tracking footprints, but they didn't specify whether they know those were his footprints, whether they casted those things, whether those are the same shoes that were at the Rock Island campground. What type of dogs are out there tracking him? Are they truly just sent specific dogs and tracking his specific scent? Or do they just have a bunch of canines out there that have different capabilities? And this might be could possibly be a ground disturbance dog as opposed to a specific dog. Those are things that I just want to, I want him to close the possibility of Travis being out there deceased. And so far, he hasn't done that because none of his answers have been concrete. They found items of interest, but nothing concrete. They believe this might have been him, but nothing concrete. They're following scent, but nothing concrete. They should have him treed, but nothing concrete. So I need something. I think at this point we're in 3 weeks of this manhunt. We need a little more something concrete from the sheriff. And I'm hoping that so far he's come through with his press conferences. Each and every time we get a little nugget of information that helps us with our analysis of this case and keeping people up to date properly in this manhunt. But we just need a little bit more. So I'm hoping that with this next press conference, he'll start addressing with more specificity, linking proof that they're on the right track. That's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of what I want. So we know about this. So now the last thing is I want you guys to hear the audio of Travis Decker. I know that this is not going to be the first time you guys have heard this audio, but in light of everything we're talking about here, this is more in line with why I truly believe he may be deceased.
There's power in the word no. At University of Phoenix, there's no application fee, entrance exam, or obligation to enroll. We'll even require...
Here, I can turn it off there. There we go.
So we're making it accessible for everyone. Discover the...
Okay. Hopefully it starts. Good gracious. Told me to skip. I skipped. I guess it took me to a different story. I don't know. That was weird. This is so annoying. Or I have to listen to another freaking commercial. All right. Let me just, you know what? I've already hit refresh. It was just about to come on and I hit refresh right when it finally came on. I don't know what's going on with this stupid. You got to hit this thing 15 times just to get it to start.
At the State College of Florida, your future is filled with
gracious with all this. With all of this technical stuff, I'm ready to hit my head against a hard surface. Good gracious. Maybe cross your fingers, guys.
It's now been more than 2 weeks since Travis Decker disappeared. The father's accused of kidnapping and killing his 3 young daughters you see here on your screen. And as the search for him continues, we're hearing his voice for the first time.
Here it is.
Your Honor, I think it's important that these girls get the opportunity to be with their dad. I also think that it's important for them to understand a little bit about the world.
That audio was recorded from a custody hearing in September of last year. Now, during that hearing, Decker was fighting to keep custody of the girls on weekends. He also claimed he never did anything unsafe with them. Now, yesterday, lawmakers, community members, and advocates gathered in Seattle to hold a moment of silence for Paityn, Olivia, and Evelyn, and called for stronger child safety laws and changes in how Amber Alerts are issued.
Now, I will tell you, I'm not going to go through this, but I will tell you, Caden's law is in 10 states and probably needs to be in more states than they are. But that's kind of where Caden's law is. And there needs to be more. I know that we've heard from Seth, he's trying to pass a bill in Tennessee. We need all the parents. If you guys know of somebody that has lost their child, has an unsolved case, has a cold case, and they're in the state of Tennessee, we're trying to schedule an event. We're going to start getting really busy after Wednesday related to this event. And we need impactful speakers. We need people that have been here. We need people that can speak from the heart about what is wrong with their system in Tennessee. It's going to take a lot of us to affect change, but there's proper ways to do it. And I always find events coming from a place of love, being loud, being proud is the way to do it. Being angry and hate and wanting to destroy gets nothing accomplished in this country, nor should it. You should not be rewarded for such poor behavior. We do not do that. We're asking, we want the governor to get on our side. We want the governor's help. And we need the politicians of that state's help as well. So that's kind of where the focus is going to be. And for those that would like to be on the planning portion of this, if you guys can start fielding me your information, you guys can email that to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We are going to be setting up a whole different group just for our discussions on scheduling this. This is going to be something that's larger. It's going to take a little more time to accomplish. We've got a lot of phone calls to make. We got a lot of people to get on board with something like this, because when we have something like this, if we could bring 100 to 200 people out there, we want something out there that's going to be an hour to 2 hours with people talking. We need to have some politicians bringing up their proposals. We need Seth up there bringing his proposal. We need to hear a whole lot of things from a lot of different people, and we need to give them the platform, especially the politicians, because that's what they like. They like being in front of that camera. And we need to give them the opportunity to pitch their stuff to their community, because sitting on the sidelines and allowing this political hate and political violence to be taking over all of our conversations in our politics, when we need real life solutions going on with the problems we have, not the problems they have. It seems like the wheels of justice turn really slow, but let something happen to one of their children and you'll see how quickly things get passed. And that's what makes me sick. It's all about the haves and the have-nots. So we need to even the playing field. And how do we even the playing field? We bring their constituents knocking on their front door, and then looking at their constituents in their eyes and telling them that they want to deal with their internal problems before they deal with what their job is actually. That's a bad PR move. And so we want to get these people in these positions where it's going to be more beneficial for them to come out and want to work with changing some laws than it would be the public campaign against them for sitting on their hands and doing nothing. So one thing I do is I play politics very, very, very well. So that particular part I'll handle myself. But we do need planners. We need people to think of things, and we need a plan of action. We need to have what is this all about? What do we want to accomplish, and how much do we need to get done? And what all are we going to need? Because we're going to need somebody that's probably going to be out there in that area to volunteer if they have a sound system that they would let us use for a couple hours. We need a lot of volunteer stuff. Somebody has, something for the sun, like a tent where we can put a lectern up under. Those are going to be the types of things that we need. And that's the kind of event that I'm looking forward to as well. And so we'll figure it out, but that needs to be going on. We need to do that, within the next, I don't know, next 4 months. We have to have it all planned. We have to have a date selected in the next, I would say in the next 30 days at max. We have 30 days to select a date, and we have about 90 days to get it all pulled together. That's typically how these things work. Sometimes I have to work on much tighter constraints than that. So I'm giving myself a liberal time to get a lot of good speakers and this event off the ground. So what do I need from you guys? If you guys are interested in flyer designs, information, phone calling. Like we need phone callers. We've got to call politicians. We've got to call organizations. We've got to call anybody and everybody that is willing to step up to the plate, come up and take a few minutes, to introduce themselves and stuff like that. So that's kind of the visual aspect of this event. So if that's something that's up your alley and you think you can help with, send me an email, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, and let's call this how about Operation Angel Wings? We'll call this Operation Angel Wings. That's what this operation will be. Will be Operation Angel Wings, and that's going to be what we're going to do. I'll get an email and everything set up. What I'm thinking about doing, we can discuss this once we get a team built for this project. We may end up having to set up individual emails for each of you, aside from your private emails. Because we're going to be handling business, and we may have to set up Google Meets and stuff like that, where you guys would probably want some of your confidentiality. So I'm if you guys don't care, you don't care, right? I mean, I really don't care. Everybody knows who I am. They know where I live. They know what I do. I don't care. Okay. It is what it is. But thank you, April. I appreciate that. And I know you'll be a big help as well. So let's go ahead and start pulling the crews in. If there are content creators that would also like to be a part of this, please reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We can definitely use, it's all hands on deck. If you guys have ideas of things, I don't know, speaking positions and stuff like that. I don't know if it's going to be that, but what we could do is for all the content creators that are committed to this project and are willing to put their names on this project, we can definitely, when we design the flyer on the back side of it, we can list all of the, sponsoring channels or something like that to help promote them, because we're going to need people out there. We're going to need people coming in, because when they bring themselves, their audience come as well. And this is a huge deal for the true crime community. It's a huge deal for the state of Tennessee as a whole. So we're going big or going home. So any bit of help you guys can give me, I greatly appreciate it, because I've kind of taken this baton. It's something I want to do for the Sebastian Rogers case, because I'm angry. I'm angry with Sumner County. And it started off being about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, but in order for it to be as impactful as it needs to be, and for it to get the kind of attention it needs to get, but from the politicians locally, it has to be more than just Sebastian. It has to be about their laws, because we need things changed. And that's all there is to it. So that's where we're at. That's just me brainstorming aloud. I haven't put pen to paper. There's a lot of movement. If you think there's something better that could be done, again, completely open. It's time to bring in the cavalry. It's time to bring in the cavalry. All right. Right now it is 12 o'clock. So let's come back. We'll reconvene at 2. We'll be at 2 on our Bullhorn Betty channel. We're going to be talking about the case of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, as well as Lily and Jack, if there are any updates. I know we're getting to the point where, mom and dad aren't speaking. Law enforcement isn't speaking. So now the mainstream media in their area is getting a little creative, starting to reach out to some retired law enforcement personnel. And they had a recent one that is a Nova Scotia detective. So he has a lot of great insight that he can provide us. And we have been talking about it and we're hearing about it, but let's really overanalyze some of his statements and see if maybe we can uncover a different path to go down to see it. So I will see you guys at 2. It's going to take me about an hour, and then I'll get a thumbnail up. So in about an hour, check the news site and then get notified. Just click the notification, and we'll be going right at 2 with any of the updated information related to them. And then we'll start talking about, we'll take the last segment of that episode, and we'll start talking about maybe some strategies for Sebastian Rogers' event. And we're going to still call it Sebastian Rogers' event because at the end of the day, he's the inspiration behind it. And it's just, we need to go big or go home. So in order for me to get it bigger, we have to kind of make it bigger. So, all right, guys, I love you guys. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless each and every one of you, and we will see you soon.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.